Hello, welcome back to the reading of the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 2. Chapter 154, Part 1. Jesus at Caesarea on sea speaks to the Galley-Slaves. 4th May 1945. Jesus is in the center of a beautiful wide square, from which a very wide road leads off, one which is almost an extension of the square as far as the seaside. A galley must have left the harbor only recently, and it is taking to the open sea driven by the wind and by the oarsmen. Another one is maneuvering to enter the harbor, because its sails are being furled, and the oars are worked on one side only, to veer round into a suitable position. The harbor cannot be seen from the square, but it must be nearby. On the sides of the square there are rows of large houses, the typical walls of which have almost no openings. There are no shops. Where are we going now? You wanted to come here instead of going to the eastern side, and this is the heathen district. Who do you think will listen to you here? Says Peter reproachfully. Let us go over there, to that corner towards the seaside. I will speak there. You will be speaking to the waves. Also the waves were created by God. They go. They are now just at the corner, and they can see the harbor into which the galley they saw before is now slowly entering and is moored at its place. Some sailors are idling along the quays. Some fruit sellers chance going towards the Roman boat to sell their goods. Nothing else. Jesus, leaning with his back against the wall, really seems to be speaking to the waves of the sea. The apostles, not very happy with the situation, are all around him, some standing, some sitting on stones, scattered here and there, to be used as benches. Foolish is the man who, seeing that he is powerful, healthy, and happy, says, "What do I need? Whom do I need? Nobody. I need nothing. I am self-sufficient. Therefore, God's decrees and moral laws mean nothing to me. My only law is to do what I can, without considering whether it is good or bad for other people." A vendor turns round on hearing the sonorous voice and comes near Jesus, who continues, "That is how a man and a woman without wisdom and faith speak. But if that proves a more or less great power, it also evidences a relationship with evil." Some men come off the galley and other boats and come towards Jesus. A man, not by words of mouth, but by deeds, proves that he is related to God and to virtue, when he considers that life is more changeable than the waves of the sea, which one moment are calm and soon after stormy. Likewise, the power and wealth of today may turn into misery and incapacity tomorrow. Then, what will a man do if he is bereft of union with God? How many on the galley were one day happy and mighty and are now slaves and considered criminals? Criminals, therefore twice slaves, of the human law, which is derided in vain because it exists and punishes its transgressors, and of Satan, who forever takes possession of criminals who do not repent and hate their crimes. "Hail, Master, you are here. Do you know me?" "May God come to you, Publius Quintilianus. See, I have come. And you are here in the Roman district. I was not hoping to see you again, but I am very happy to hear you." "And I am happy too. Are there many men chained to the oars on that galley?" "Yes, quite a large number, mostly war prisoners. Are you interested in them?" "I would like to approach that boat." "Come, get away from here," he orders the few people who had come near and who draw back at once, mumbling rude remarks. "You may leave them. I am accustomed to being pressed by crowds. I can take you so far, not any farther. It's a military galley. It is enough. May God reward you." Jesus resumes speaking, while the Roman, in his splendid uniform, seems to be mounting guard beside him. "Slaves by misfortune, that is, slaves only once, slaves for a lifetime. But every tear that falls on their chains, every blow that strikes them, writing pain on their flesh, files their handcuffs, adorns what does not die, opens to them the peace of God, who is the friend of his poor unhappy children, and who will give them as much joy as the pain they suffered here. Some men of the crew look out from the bulwarks of the galley and listen. None of the galley slaves are there, of course, but Jesus' powerful voice certainly reaches them through the rowlock sockets, and it spreads through the quiet air at low tide. Publius Quintilianus is called by a soldier and goes away. I want to tell these unhappy men who are loved by God to be resigned to their misfortune and to turn their pains into flames that will soon unfasten the chains of the galley and of their lives. Ending in a desire for God, having endured the poor day, which is our life, a dark, stormy, fearful, painful day, they thus enter the day of God, a bright, serene, fearless, and joyful day. You will enter the great peace, the infinite freedom of paradise. O martyrs of a painful destiny, provided you are good in your suffering and you aspire to God. Publius Quintilianus comes back with other soldiers, and he is followed by a litter carried by slaves, and the soldiers make room for it. Who is God? I am speaking to Gentiles who do not know who God is. I am speaking to the children of the peoples subdued, who do not know who God is. In your forests, O Gauls, Iberians, Thracians, Germans, Celts, you have a sham God. A soul is naturally inclined to worship because it remembers heaven. But you cannot find the true God, who put a soul into your bodies, a soul equal to the soul we people of Israel have, equal to the soul of the mighty Romans who have subdued you, a soul that has the same duties and the same rights to good, and to which the good one, that is the true God, will be faithful. Be equally faithful to good. The God or gods that you have worshipped so far, learning his or their names on your mother's knees, the God of whom you no longer think, because you do not feel any comfort coming from him to relieve your suffering, the God that perhaps you hate and curse in your daily despair, is not the true God. The true God is love and piety. Were perhaps your gods like that? No, they were not. They were also hard, cruel, false, hypocrites, vicious thieves, and now they have abandoned you, without the least comfort, which is the hope of being loved and the assurance of a rest after so much suffering. It is so because your gods do not exist, but God, the true God, who is love and piety, and who I can assure you exists, is he who made the sky, the seas, the mountains, the forests, the plants, the flowers, the animals, and man. He is the one who inspires conquerors to treat the poor people of the world with mercy and love, as he is mercy and love. This has been a reading from the poem of the Man God, written by Maria Valtorta, Volume 2. Chapter 154, Part 1. Jesus at Caesarea on Sea speaks to the Galley-Slaves. Thank you for listening. I will see you tomorrow. May God bless you, and may peace be with you.